guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Racist Manager Loses Her Mind. Before I retired I was in IT, setting up new network for client in Philadelphia. I have cable maps set up for the new building they are adding to their property. My job is to transition them from an old DEC alpha systems that was over capacity and obsolete. First step was new server with much higher capacity, then transition accounting to PCs, then do the same with the sales counter downstairs for the retail unit. New manager is hired. Young woman, early 20s, redhead with attitude, talks to everyone like they are idiots. The company had just hired an bilingual Latina, as receptionist and switchboard operator. This manager takes an instant dislike to this young lady, taking every opportunity to find fault with her work, mode of dress and phone manner. The Latina is nothing but professional. This facility is not in the best part of town. We were warned not to walk to the local sandwich shop alone. I'm older, 6 foot plus and 200 pounds, so I'm usually invited to join the ladies when they want to go out for lunch, to the local shop. All is good. Manager calls me to her office to complain that I'm on speaking terms with the Latina and other woman she wants gone. I'm a subcontractor, not under her authority, so I politely point out that do my job, I need to be on speaking terms with as many employees as possible. A few days later she decides to go out to lunch at the local shop, but will not ask anyone who associated with those she didn't approve of. She not only goes to the shop in this rather rough part of town, but goes into the shop, and proceeds to throw a temper tantrum about the group of tight jean-clad teenaged Latina girls hanging outside the store. Good customers of the store. Went ballistic when the owner refused to run off the teenage girls. Manager idiots more and complains about these Latinas hanging outside. This is a Hispanic neighborhood. Gets her sandwich, storms outside and shoves her way through the teenage girls, all high school-aged girls. The teenage girls not only failed to be impressed by this 20-something's authority at a business down the street, but shoved her back, and after a brief scuffle, a truly disheveled redhead comes back to the office, her blouse torn, lost a couple buttons, skirt ripped up one side and one high heel had the heel broken off. She calls the police to file a reported assault. Police come and take her statement, goes to the shop, and surprise, no group of girls. The owner of the store proceeds to inform the officers that the woman was a idiot, threw a temper tantrum, demanded her order regular customer to leave the area, and the fact that she owed the customers outside his shop. He also informed the police she was not welcomed back in his shop. A week later she got in an altercation with the site manager of one of the company's largest customers, who came in to go over some special orders she needed placed for a large project they just won. The manager didn't want to work with woman, a mid-30s project manager, because was Hispanic. The owner came in unexpectedly, walked into the conference room, and fired the manager on the spot, for unprofessional conduct. The next story is titled Karen Wants Me to Miss My Bus to Make Her Nails. Today I had an appointment with my gynecologist because of a lump inside my breast. It's something important, and I have been waiting 3 months. I was waiting for the bus, and when it arrived there were not enough seats for everyone, so the driver said only 7 persons could join and the others should wait for next bus, half hour. I was the number 6, but an old man behind me gave his spot, the last one, to a girl who asked politely, or she would miss her college test. A Karen saw this and came to me, the next in line, when it was nearly my turn to go in and pay, and said, "So?" I answered, "So, what?" Turns out she was expecting me to give my spot to her. I said no. I explained that I can't be late to my doctor, but she said, "I have an appointment for my nails, and this salon is nearly always full. You know, it's a really fancy one, many celebrities go there. So, I can't lose this opportunity. You can book another appointment for your doctor." I didn't bother answering and just went in. She called me a idiot, and that's it. The next story is titled The Entitlement Just Continues to Grow. Family member that hasn't contributed wants to invite another family to join us. You can see my post history for a recap of what's going on and what I'm complaining about. Short recap. We're going to a cabin in the woods for vacation. It's a family trip with extended family. Several cousins, a couple of kids, an aunt and a so. One cousin paid for the cabin and left the planning and buying meals to me and another cousin. The other cousin has not helped buy anything. Literally nothing. We're talking probably close to 1K of food bought and he hasn't paid not one penny. Won't Venmo me money, won't buy stuff on his own. Constant excuses. Last night he messaged me and the cousin that paid for the cabin and said he wanted to invite more people. The cousin that paid for the cabin said no, was actually polite about it. I've seen the texts, and the one who hasn't contributed a dime is now flipping out because he was told no. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I don't have a lot of family left, that's why I was biting my tongue about the ones not paying towards this trip, but I'm just shocked that someone who hasn't contributed a dime to a trip thinks they can invite 4 other people and gets upset when said no. The next story is titled, Would I Be the A-hole if I told my neighbor he couldn't rent our extra parking spot? We live in a mobile home community that is strict with parking. They really enforce towing bad. So, our neighbor asked if they could use our empty parking spot because they have one too many cars. The office allows people with excess cars that don't fit space in the office area. However, we live far enough from it that it is an inconvenience to park there. They are complete strangers to us. And I got into it with them before for letting their dog out without a leash. Mainly because our dog is not good with other dogs and want to prevent issues. The extra spot is right in front of our room. We sometimes have people over and use it. Anywho, they offered money for the spot, so their son doesn't walk or get towed. Would I be the a-hole for kindly refusing to rent it to them? In addition, our dog barks at everything and anything. Them parking will for sure cause him to bark. Second, we have a 2-year-old. Quick update: 1 just learned after chatting with my mom who lives in the community. The main office actually rents their spaces as well. We don't know by how much, another neighbor rents their reserved spot there. Comment said, not the a-hole. It's your parking spot, they asked to rent it, you are well within bounds to just politely decline. If they press, just say it's because the dog is a bit reactive and you are trying to prevent him from waking a crabby toddler. If they have kids, they will understand that. If they don't, oh well. It's your spot. Another comment said, not the a-hole. I'd phrase it as a privacy issue, and/or cars too close to your space sets you dog off. As well your guest parking. Because if you leave it as just a guest issue, they'll start tracking how many guests you have and argue with you about how much time no one is there. If it is about your privacy, there's nothing to argue with. Maybe you could suggest neighbor use a bike to get to his car, or not, if he's not the kind of guy open to suggestions. The next story is titled, Karen Demands My Hot Tub. Typical long-time lurker, first-time poster. This just happened and the only word that comes to mind is wow. The previous owner of my house, H, called a few days ago, interested in buying the hot tub I have on my lower deck. I bought the house from him including the hot tub and shed. When he sold the property to me, he was in an on and off again relationship with his now wife, Karen. I told him in the first phone call I'd want time to think on it and do some research. I don't use the hot tub, haven't in the year I've lived here, so I was open to selling it. Through his own admission, it was worth $12K brand new 2 years ago, and has seen very light use. No cosmetic damage besides being dirty. So while playing phone tag with him over the next couple days, I had the number of around 8 to 9K to be expected for it. Out of the blue, 2 days ago Karen calls me and begins to chat with me about the hot tub. I start with asking how they plan to move it. She says they'll hire professional movers, and then I asked what they were thinking as far as pricing goes. She goes into this long monologue about how they put in a lot of sweat equity into the home. They were the ones to buy it and set it up, yada yada yada, and then tells me they're looking around 3K for it. Taken aback a bit, I told her I'd have to think on it and that further negotiations would probably be coming. She sounded very annoyed and rushed the entire time on the phone with me, like she was working and I was inconveniencing her even though she called me. Fast forward to today. Obviously, I decide to not go through with the sale, and to be gentle about it, I called H and told him that I didn't want to sell it because it is part of the home's value. Partially true, but I didn't want to come out and say that they, or rather, Karen, tried to offensively lowball me. H was very understanding, and asked me, sounding almost scared, to please text Karen and let her know before H got home. Weird request at the time, but okay, sure. Come to find out, I'm sure he knew what her reaction would be and didn't want to take the full heat for it. I texted her, explaining what I told H, and she texted me back, we left you a super clean place, it had mold, and had a lot of sweat equity invested, a couch and a shed a company put in, You personally did not make those improvements. I made others. Yet you will capitalize on those improvements. That's how real estate works. She then went on to call me as greedy as the market and that asking for the tub wasn't unreasonable because it was barely used at all. And, best wishes on getting what you think you deserve out of our improvements. I've yet to send a reply because I have no idea what to say to her. The next story is titled Won't Call Me by My Name? You get a new one. People often mispronounce my name. Even family members who have known me my whole life. I'm in my late 20s. Think a person named Marissa being called Melissa. I was at my family's Thanksgiving and my uncle Gary kept calling me the wrong name. I let it go a few times, but after the fourth time I told him, it's real name. His response was, "What did I say?" And when I corrected him, he said, "Why does it matter?" I said it close enough, I've heard this my whole life, but this time something broke inside me. Cool, pronouncing my name correctly doesn't matter? I renamed him Gerd. A few family members and I kept calling him Gerd the rest of the day. At first, he acted like he didn't care and thought it was funny, but towards the end of the day he admitted he'll work on getting my name correctly. Until he can pronounce my name right consistently, his name is Gerd. The next story is titled I Have to Clean Your Cat's Gory Mess? You will, too. Warning. This is a bit gross. Years ago, a new neighbor moved in next door. These were small two-story homes built close together with concrete back patios, no lawns. We backed to a grassy hillside where there was wildlife. A couple of days after they moved in, I began seeing dead bodies of what appeared to be gophers. It was quite bloody and there were entrails strewn about my patio. Having to scoop it all up with a shovel was half of it. I also had to hose the blood off the concrete. This went on for several days and one morning, as I had suspected, I saw their cat pulling a body apart on my patio. He took off and jumped the fence back to their house. I walked next door, and the man of the house was out front hanging a plant, so this was the perfect time to address this issue. Or so I thought. The conversation went like this. Me. Hi, I'm XXX and I live next to you. Him. Hey. Doesn't give me eye contact at any time during the conversation. Me. I've noticed your cat has been killing small animals and leaving a bloody mess on my patio. It's happened several times. Him. Yeah, cats do that. Me. Well, there has to be a way to stop this. I'm cleaning up guts every other day. What should we do? Him. What can you do? He's an outside cat. Me. Can you give him a collar with a bell? That way he can chase animals, but they at least get a warning and can escape. Him. Nah, no, he'd never go for that. Nah, he's never worn a collar. No. Me. So, you're not going to at least try a collar with a bell? Nothing? This can't keep happening. It's not really fair that I keep cleaning this up. Him. Silence. He deliberately ignored me at that point. Jackass. So, I had no choice but to be petty. The next day, I found 2 dead bodies on my patio. A lot of guts. So, I shoveled up the guts and flung them over the fence. All of it. This is what I planned on doing every time. If I have to deal with this, then so do they. After hosing the blood off my patio, I went inside and looked out from my upstairs window. Their back patio was a horror show. Intestines hanging off their umbrella, chunks splattered on their table and chairs. The splattering made it even more gory. I expected a knock on my door, or some retaliation. But no response at all. The following day, I looked out the window and saw they cleaned it up. I also saw the cat in their upstairs window, several feet away, staring at me. Over time, the blinds on that window got trashed by the cat. He became an indoor cat. I felt bad for the innocent wildlife, but I never blamed the cat for doing what he was hardwired to do. I blamed the owners. They didn't try the collar and bell, or even supervised outside time with him. They just kept him inside. I've never done anything like that before, and I wasn't comfortable doing that. But they left me little choice. The next story is titled This Tale has been brought to you today by the number 17, and the letters, I don't care. I had started a new job at a mid-scale, limited-service hotel just outside a popular theme park known for its collection of roller coasters and safari animals. Many guests who stay with us book through the park as part of a vacation package, combining their hotel stay with park tickets, and perhaps a few extras such as dining passes and skip-the-line passes. Today's guest, UG, along with her brother, Ub, have booked one of these vacation packages, and come to check in with us. Op. Good afternoon, how could I assist you today? UG. Yes, I have a reservation made through nearby theme park. Op. Certainly, could I please see your ID? A bit of background. Since we're located in a terrible neighborhood, our hotel has a strict policy of only renting to guests 21 years of age or older. If there's someone with an underage guest who's at least 21, we can go ahead and check them in with the older guest's ID. So UG had given me her ID, and I see in big bold letters below her picture, under 21 until some date in 2026. In case you haven't done the math, UG is merely 17 years old, and has booked a room and theme park tickets under her name. Op. Are you traveling with anyone 21 or older? UG. My mom is supposed to be here in a few hours. Can't you just check me in? Op. Unfortunately, the minimum age to reserve a room and check in here is 21 years. We'll have to wait for her to arrive before we can check you in. UG. I can get her on the phone if you want. Op. Again, for the security and privacy of our guests and employees, she'll have to physically be here to check you in. Since I see you've booked this through theme park, you'll have to speak with them, and they can cancel the reservation for you without penalty. I guess that'll be our only choice. How will they know to cancel without penalty? Op. Just let them know that you're under 21 and tried to check in, then they'll reach out to us to confirm our interaction. But how can they tell? Besides, the park didn't have your policy on their website. Op. Our policy is clearly posted on every third-party booking website, along with our very own site. Again, just let them know of our interaction, and they'll reach out to us. Within the next hour, the booking office for the theme park calls our front desk to confirm that the guest was indeed under 21, so they could cancel her stay without penalty. Overall, if you think you can get away with renting a hotel room at age 17, think again. Heck, some places have a minimum age of 18 to rent a room. The next story is titled COVID-19 Outbreak. Hello all. I haven't posted in a while. I now work in a small hotel in a small suburb in Kansas. For some context, last Wednesday I started feeling rough, scratchy throat, congestion, runny nose. I always get sinus infections, so I assumed it was that. Wednesday night I took a COVID-19 test and was positive. I feel awful about exposing people. Then my parents came down with it also. I discovered today that the 7 to 3 full-time employee has had COVID for 2 weeks. My GM knew this the whole time, and now half of the hotel staff has it, and their families. I am very disappointed in my management. There is a protocol in place for everyone, but since management didn't want to work, she hasn't been enforcing it or is aware or playing dumb. Thank you for listening to my rant. Update. I have contacted the department in the capital city in charge of hotels. Let the cards fall where they may. Second update. The part-time employees have no idea either. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.